Hello and welcome back to another video. So as you can see, we've cut the silage. So we had a bit of a delay. We were rained off there last Friday. The 19th of May was when we were supposed to cut. Today is the 23rd of May and it was actually cut yesterday evening. I was home late and I was actually up really early for work this morning, so I said I'd leave the recording until today. But look, it was only put off by a few days in the end, so not too bad, and the weather was awful here over the weekend, so we made the right decision anyway by holding off. So really good drying here today as well. You'll probably hear the wind soon, sorry if you do, but yeah, really good drying, nice warm day as well. So it's been down for about 24 hours now. They finished up around 6:30, 7:15 yesterday, and we'll bale it tomorrow. So they'll come back in the morning and row it and bale it and get it moved down and stacked. So it'll be interesting now to see how many we get out of it. So last year we got 96 bales out of our one and only cut, but that was definitely a good 4 weeks after this, because we just had calamity after calamity last year in terms of the silage. So look, we're not expecting to get that many now at all out of this first cut. So what we'll do is we'll cut that field behind me again and the one I'm standing in. And we'll see what we get out of that then. But my dad is kind of thinking if we get 80 out of this cut, he'd be happy. So I'll fill you in on how many we get and how many to the acre and all of that. But it's great to get it done so early. I did say in a previous video that I wanted to cut as close to the 20th of May as I could, and look, to be honest, I couldn't do much better now than the 22nd of May getting it done. And so this stuff will all be fed to the younger stock over winter. So the yearlings and the weanlings will get this stuff, and then the cows will get the second cut, because this stuff should be great stuff for the young stock, and we don't want the cows putting on condition over the winter, so the second cut should be perfect for them. But it'll just be interesting to see now if the earlier cut makes any difference to the cattle over the winter, because I know this is the earliest we've cut in years anyway, as long as I'm involved anyway. But I must ask my dad, I suppose back in the day they would have cut this early because they would have had the weather a lot better than the weather we have these days, but I must ask him just out of interest. So yeah, in this video anyway, what I'll do is I will obviously wait until it's all done, and I'll let you know how we get on with it. But it's great to have it done, because tomorrow now when they get the bales out of here, we're going to wait for help to come after work. So I'm actually off, which is great because I can get the place ready. But we need to move cattle because the place below, it's been punching above its weight for weeks now, in fairness. It's actually done really well to sustain the cattle for as long as it has, because it's just not good ground. So it'll be great now to get the cattle up here. We'll just let them eat all the headlands first for a couple of days, and we're going to put them into the field just beyond here now. So that's the field that they were in for miserable March, as I call it, because I was rained on every day in March. But they spent pretty much all of March in there. I used to bring them up their silage and their nuts, and the place was destroyed, and I honestly thought it would never come back around. But thankfully a dusting of the old 18612 before I went on holidays, and it's really started to green up now. Now, I mean, it's not up to my knee or anything like that, but it'll definitely do them for a while. So we're going to split them all up, because we have grass in certain fields, but not enough grass in each of the fields to do them all. So the one that isn't going to be AI'd, the old cow, she's going to come up here with her calf obviously and a few of the yearlings. We're going to then put the 2 cows that have to calve into a smaller field just below my house. They'll go in there and feed that down. It's not a field we use too often. It's a field we use for a few days if we need to stretch things. It used to be my pony's field, but she passed away in December. So it's kind of been idle, I suppose, since then. But there's a good coat of grass in there now, so they'll go in there and I'll get the topper in once they come out of it as well to tidy it up. I don't think that field has seen a topper in many a year, so it'll just be nice to try and tidy it up a bit. And then the other cows and the heifer that we want to hopefully AI if she comes bulling, and we need to keep an eye on that other heifer that we AI'd earlier. They'll all stay together below in another field. So it's just about stretching it for a while. Once we can get these 2 fields beyond me back, once there's a bit of growth again, the pressure will be off, thankfully. But until then, yeah, it's just about making it do. So anyway, enough talking. I'll show you this grass. I've been up to another few bits as well, and I'll put this into the video as well. I might as well show you what I've been up to. Typical suckler carrying on, but yeah. We were back in to do a bit more dehorning, so this is the latest one. She's the only one now currently that needs to be dehorned. Of the next 2, only one of them should need to be dehorned because the other one is out of a poly, so she shouldn't have any horns. But I'm just doing the usual anaesthetic into the temple. With this, I always do it very slowly because I do find that they can find it a little bit uncomfortable by the time the full 3 milliliters is in. I always find they do start to move the head a little bit, so it's obviously a bit uncomfortable for them. So I just put it in slow, and it's with a very small needle anyway, so it goes in slow. While that was taking effect then, I had to tag her mother, a job that I've been putting off for a long time. Her name is Nervous Norma, so Norma for short, but you might enjoy this little encounter here now that we have. So you'd swear it's the absolute end of the world. She's like a lunatic. And look, straight away, as soon as I stop, she's like, okay, I'm chilling. So that was that job done, and it was back in then about 10-15 minutes later to get the dehorning of the calf done. To be honest, it all went really smoothly. Even the fact that the cow went up the crush, no bother, caught the head, and I was able to get the tag on because I was worried I'd rip the ear off her because I knew she'd react like that. But in fairness to her, she did put up a bit of a fight, but I somehow managed to keep the tagger on her ear. I don't know how. But anyway, back to dehorning. About 15-18 seconds each side, working it around, and then I always take out the horn bud. The horn bud on the second side there was a little bit reluctant to come out, but got it out anyway. Bit of the spray because we don't want any infections, any flies laying eggs or anything like that in the wounds, and she was ready to go, and out she trotted looking for her mom. worker. Christ. Next job that I had to get done then before the bales come down was to just finish tidying up that section. I mean, for such a small section, you'd think that I'd have it done in an hour or two, but I don't know. It just seemed to go on for days. But I always make the same mistake every year. I tell myself I'm going to roll up the hose when I'm done with it so that there won't be anything grown on top of it and I won't have to drag it out like I am now. But yet every year I do the same thing. I just leave off that 2-minute job, so I end up having to drag the hose around the place. But look, I got it out. It wasn't too bad. And then I was ready for the strimming. So just when the bales will all be lined up there in front of the wire, it would only keep getting more and more overgrown, and I just don't want it interfering with the strength of the fence or anything. So I said I'd tidy that up. I do love a bit of strimming. I find it very therapeutic, but it's fine on this side, but there's a good few nettles and there was a few weak dock leaves and stuff on the other side, so it was just really good to take care of those. And as you can see, the cows could not care less that I was inside there. I also think I look very fetching in my goggles, but I much prefer the face shield because the goggles are just too big, but they did the job. And this was the end product, just ready for the bales. Next one I was on to then was putting up a gate. So I've wanted to do that for probably 2 years now at this stage, because usually when we're turning them down the crush from outside the back of the shed, say, we have to just prop up a gate against that water tank there and then get another gate and prop that up against that. So I've been wanting to do this for a good while, but sure, I wouldn't have a clue how to go about it myself. So Dad went away and got all the gear and I went about putting it up. The biggest success of the day was that I managed to not lose anything down the slats. I do like to live life on the edge, as you can see, but that was a heavy gate. Oh my god. Believe me, it needed to be sped up because it took a lot of manoeuvring to try and get it into place. But anyway, we got there. I just propped it up there then to make sure that I could get the top, I don't know what you call it, bracket, I suppose, for it in up against the wall. So I just finished off doing that, made sure everything was level. My dad had to show me but tell me 3 times how to use the spirit level, but look, I got there in the end. At least I was able to use the drill this time, and this was the end result then. I'm very proud of it, to be honest. I think the bracket on top could be slightly straighter. I think it's slightly off, but no, I'm really happy with that. Sure, it didn't fall off, and that was my main concern, but that's half that job done anyway, and we're back to silage. Now I'm just back up here again this morning. It's about 10:30, so the boys should be on soon to bale it. So he actually came last night and rode it, which was great to have that done before today. So it's all ready to go now. I sat below on the mound there and just watched and videoed him like a 10-year-old. I'd say he was saying, will she ever go away? Poor Darren, he always gets caught with me taking photos or videos or whatever, because he does a lot of the work here for us. But yeah, great job, all ready to go. So in the meantime, I think I'm going to go do a bit of fencing before the moves this evening. So I've one just quick temporary fence to put up, which I'll do that later, but I have a bit of post driving to do and stuff in the field below. So I think I'm just going to tip away with that. Sure, I'm not going to be doing anything while they're baling anyway, so I'll leave them at it and get that done. Probably put that in another video, because I'd say I'll have enough in this one by the time we're done. You'll be sick of me. So yeah, I'm going to head off and do that now anyway. I'm down here on quality control now. I have my roll of tape inside ready to go, but in fairness, first load is in and I haven't seen any cut, so they did a good job. Yeah, that's what I like to see anyway to start with. So yeah, all the first cut is going to come here, so we'll put it right out to the edge of the concrete and see how far over it goes then. And then our second cut will go there. I'll paint them so that I know which is which. And yeah, this lot will go to the young stock, as I mentioned, and then the second cut to the cows. So all going well. You can probably see not a very nice day here. I'd say there's a bit of rain there, so it is no harm now that we're baling it and getting it in just in case. So I'm going to keep tipping away. I'm going to get my ropes and stuff set up for the move later. I'll just hang them and leave them down so that I'm not blocking anyone, but at least I'll have everything ready to go when everyone's home, because I'd say I'll be well sick of it at that stage. Now I'm just up here again making sure all the gaps and gates are closed before we move the cattle up here. But as you can see, all the bales have been drawn in and we have a final tally, which is 72 bales, which I'm quite happy with. Dad is not quite so happy with it, but I checked my TikToks. I looked back to see when we cut last year and it was the 20th of June, so we are pretty much the whole month earlier this year, so I'm fairly happy with 72. We got a really good return from the first field below, that was over 9 bales to the acre, which was good, but overall we're about 7.5 bales to the acre is what it works out at, or a bit more. But yeah, it's about 9.5 acres up here, give or take, maybe a little more. But yeah, that's what it was. You know, obviously it was better last year, but it was later, so I'm fairly happy with that. I suppose it just means that we're going to have to cut a bit more than we wanted to up here, which might put a little bit of pressure on the grazing for the cattle then. But I'd say what we'll do is cut the field below, cut the field I'm in, and cut the top part of the next field, and that should be plenty. Like, we got 26 bales from the field below, and I'd say probably a fifth of that field even didn't get any fertiliser and was grazed down 5 weeks ago maybe, and we still got silage out of that section. So I'd say now if we just do the half up here, we should be looking good. Yes, we'll put a bit of pressure on the grazing, but we will hopefully just about scrape it. The big concern at the moment is there is absolutely no rain on the long-term forecast, which will of course slow things down. We'd like to get the fertiliser out ASAP, but there's no point in me spreading that if I'm not going to get any rain at all. So we'll see. I might give it a while and see how things go, but it just means that it might push the second cut out, which we absolutely don't want because we want the ground back. But look, this is all part of it. We've been wanting heat and sunshine for months. Now we have it, we're looking for the rain. That's just always the way it goes with farming. But yeah, that's the job done anyway. I think I've covered everything, but obviously if you have questions, do leave them below. But generally the main question I think everyone asks is, how many bales to the acre did you get? So about the 7.5, not too bad for this time of year. Yeah, it was 10 last year, but when you're cutting that late on, you'd nearly expect it really, wouldn't you? So I'm happy all in all. Everything more or less went to plan. The timing for me was the big thing. Wanted it as close to the 20th of May as possible, and we did that. We did well. So look, we'll see how the second cut goes. We'll see when I can get that fertiliser out and when things start to get moving, and sure, we'll go again with another silage video if I'm around that day. But for now I'm going to leave it there. I have cattle to move, and between all the different fields they need to go in and the separating in the shed and all that, that's going to take a little bit of time. So I'm going to head off and do that now, and I'll see you in the next video. So thanks again for watching. If you liked it, give me a like, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Thank you.